Nazara from Nazara's Fine Crafts, and hopefully you guys got to work on your scarves this week. If you're still working on it, that's okay. Keep trying, and when you get to this point, go ahead and watch this video so you can finish it off. So, didn't realize I just tried to choose a color that would show up well on camera, and I ended up choosing out fall colors. So I did a fringe that's a little bit kind of pumpkin-y, pumpkin-esque. And so the fringe here I did on the end, and then I can show you how to do a pocket if you would rather do a pocket. If you like these kind of tutorials, or if you've been watching and following along, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and then subscribe to my channel, because I will be going into more tutorials. But the first thing before the fringe that you need to learn is how to tie off your ends. So you get to the end of how long you wanted it, which I did make my scarf only 90 inches long. I like that. If you're going to do pockets, you want to add however deep you want the pockets. So if you want the pockets to be this deep, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or so. So on each side, so you want to add 20 to 22 more rows onto the 90 or if you wanted to do the 120, you should have enough to fold into pockets. So you get to that last double crochet, you put it in, then you need to cut off your yarn. A lot of people recommend doing like more 4 to 6 inches. I just do about 2 to 3 inches of where I cut, and then what I do is I hook my yarn like I was going to do a single crochet, but I pull it all the way through that last loop. So I'm not holding it anymore in this hand, and then I pull down to kind of build this little knot right here. And then before I weave in my ends, and I'll show you what that is in a moment too, I stick my hook right here through this bottom part. I hook my yarn again, bring it through like a single crochet, and then I hook it, and then I'm going to hook like I'm going to do a chain, but I pull that all the way through. Then I put my hook back through that loop and pull this last strand again. Hold on just one moment. Okay, sorry about that. So we have it looped through once, you stick your hook back through that loop, and then you pull the strand of yarn again. That way you're doing like a surgeon stitch with just one strand, so it's a double knotted. And then make sure you use your nails, if you can, to pull that knot down into the corner. And then you're going to take your yarn needle, go ahead and thread it. And then you're going to weave it in. Try to find like the chunkier points of the yarn. You're just going to go through there and go back through it. There's no rhyme or reason to this. It's just, well, there's no rhyme to it. There is a reason. You want to go back and forth as much as possible because you don't want that yarn end to come out. And then you do that about 3 or 4 times. And then you trim that stitch there. So let me get my scissors. This is when your scissors come in, and you just trim that. Make sure, I leave a little bowl normally around so I can, if I'm working on a big project that I'm trimming a lot, because these yarn ends will end up all over your house if not. So on here with the fringe, well, let me show you the pocket first. So if you're doing the pocket, you're just going to fold up the amount you want, maybe like that there, and you're just going to sew up each side with your yarn needle. It's just going to be a whip stitch, and I'm not going to do this all the way. I'm just going to show you kind of how to begin it. But And make sure you weave in your ends, just like I said before. So sometimes I'll start here so I can just whip stitch across the bottom and then go back up the side. But if I'm running low on yarn, you can just go down one side, go down the other side. So to make the pocket, we're going to whip stitch. So, and right down here in the corner, pull it through. Make sure you leave enough of an end to be able to sew this part in too. And you're just going to go up every 1 crochet or so. Just always coming in the bottom, coming out the top. And you see how well it blends in there? You can't even tell there's a stitch. You can always do it with another color if you wanted to add accent to it. But that is pretty much how you sew up the pocket. And it does see how it won't open up. It's pretty tough. So that is how you do the pocket stitch. So let me pull that out. Okay, so for the fringe, you're going to need yarn. In this case, you can use just the 1 strand. In this case, I'm using 2 colors. And you need something to wrap your yarn around. So in this case, I'm going to use a DVD case. And you just lay it on the top here where the ends are coming off. Make sure you don't stretch your yarn when you're pulling this around. You're going to hold it with your thumb and then you're going to wrap gently. I'm doing it 4 times until I have 4 strands here on top, 4 strands on the back. And then you're going to cut your yarn here. And I like to do this over the middle of the DVD case because there's this little notch right here that I can fit my scissors right into. And then you're going to trim it there. So I have my strands. Then you want them as even as possible. Pop your finger right there through it. Find the space that you're going to do your fringe. And here, if you can see, I have 3 double crochet or 2 spaces in between each strand of yarn. So what I'm going to do, make sure also that the same design is on the same side, because you have the top knot and then you have the back of the knot there. So when you're doing both sides, you want that knot. You want to make sure you don't twist your scarf. Otherwise, you're going to end up with bottoms on one side and tops on the other. So in this case, we're going to be going through the back because we want the top knot to show on this side. You're going to stick your hook through the space you want to start with. You're going to hook all of your yarn, and this, you might need a bigger hook if you have one. Either that or just kind of loosely pull it through there, kind of like how I just did. I'm not hooking it. I'm just kind of loosely pulling it through there. And then I pull it through a long way, take my fingers through the loop, and then pull all the strands through and try to pull it as tight as possible. If you have loose strands, you might have to go through and start pulling at some of these individually to find out who the loose strands are. And of course, it will always be the last one that you try that's going to do that for you. And there they are. In this case, it was the last ones all together. So we're going to do that all the way through. So once again, get my DVD case, wrap it around without stretching it. if my yarn will allow me. Got to the end of the skein, so now it's just a big old bundled mess. I guess I could make it into a ball, but that might take more time. If I had time, I would. So, holding that there, wrapped it around, what? Got 2 strands, 3, and 4. Yes. Alright. Making sure not to trim my scarf down there. We're going to do that and then trim it there. So I have my second one. You can actually go ahead and cut all of these in advance if you wanted to, but I didn't. So I'm going to count 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go through this space, and we're going through the big space. You can go through the loops at the bottom, but I'm just going, if you notice, I did the textured double crochet through the spaces instead of through the top, so I'm going to keep consistent with that plan there. So something went loose here. I don't know why that piece, that's why that piece of yarn's so long. So pull it through, big loop, put your fingers through it and pull it through. You want to try to keep these strands of yarn as even as possible. We will be cutting them later to even them up. If you want, you don't have to. If you like the uneven fringed look, that's fine too. So then let's do our next one. So I'm going to fast forward through. A quick note. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 tassels on this side. So you want to put only 8 tassels on this side as well. So just keep that in mind so that they're even. And let's go ahead and cue the music. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then we've got 8 here. And I am going to trim these all to be about the same. So I'm just going to go through here. And my straight line's not perfect. You can do it where you clip it or something like that, but I don't like long fringe personally. And I think that is just fine. I should have gotten some longer scissors. Some bigger scissors, I mean. It's okay. They work. You just got to do a couple passes. Just make sure you're not cutting all of it shorter and shorter and shorter till you have no fringe at all. Okay, that's pretty decent. They're not exact, but that's pretty even to me. So, and there we are with our fringe, our nice fringy scarf. So, once again, if you like this tutorial, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.